start next week on the 11th and the 12th of April, and with Julia.
Mhm.
She's doing the recovery coach supervisors class.
I'm on the waiting list.
Oh, yeah, I was going to do that. And I said, oh, wait, there's going to be another class during July. And I figured I'd go to that class because I won't be working at the time.
That's,
Oh, so maybe I could take your spot.
Right, you should call her.
No, I never enrolled, so you
Oh,
would
you
be.
didn't
I would have been on a
enroll.
wait
Okay.
list after you.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
we try to do what we can because we know what our struggle was like,
Yeah.
and we knew how hard it was for us to get services for our children.
Mm-hmm.
You know, luckily, that's what we want to do is we want to save lives.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then we all met basically. Well, I don't think you were doing it, but I know Marion and Judy and myself were going into Boston the last Sunday
Yeah.
of the month
Yeah.
and doing learn that hand-delivered hope.
Mm-hmm.
So
10 below zero weather.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't
my
remember.
God,
it was
I've
2
never
years
been
ago when
so
we started
cold
in
my life. That was so
that winter
cold.
Yeah.
that there was so much snow.
I would
Yeah.
come home and cry every time afterwards because I was warm.
Yeah.
Because I absorb.
Yeah.
I absorb it. I'm horrible. That's why I'm always, you see, they'll be like, where's Judy? And they're like, well, she's not here because I have to always make sure that I, like, vent myself from it all because I get so sad from it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
hard.
a roller coaster ride
It is.
to see, all these parents. First of all, it affects the whole family.
Yes.
And they need to have more meetings for families. And I did go to one I told you in Plastow, and I really did like it. It was a pastor and Denise Sullivan from New England Raw.
Okay.
And they talk about, in the group that they had, the first class I went to, I haven't been able to go back. It's on Tuesday nights, and I'm a Lion, so twice a month I'm in Lions meetings. And the last time the weather was really, really bad, so I didn't want to try, when you have to be up there at 7 and you're coming from Somerville,
Yeah.
the traffic is not, it's bumper to bumper for a long time. So I do want to go again because they actually talk about enabling, and they use a lot of like slides to talk about it. And when you're sitting there, you're not only sitting with other parents like yourself, you even have siblings. You even have people in recovery that are in houses. So it's everybody sitting in the same room and talking about addiction and how it affects the family. And that's what I think we should have more of, and not just separate groups like Learn to Cope or NA or AA. I think we should all be in the same room to discuss it. I think there always should be someone like a mediator because, when you have your child, you can't really probably talk to each other openly about different things. But when there's someone else there, you're able to open up a little bit
Yeah.
more.
Everything works for different, different
Yeah,
things
it
work
works.
for different people.
Right.
So
That's
it's good
right,
to have
so-
options.
Yeah.
Right, we do have to have more options. So I think that the recovery coach,
Mm-hmm.
they were doing recovery coach for families, and that's what they're working on now. So I think that would be very interesting and want to take that course as well.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people out there that are like going through treatment right now, like I'll bring up recovery coaching to them and they're like, what's that? Like a lot of them don't know what it is. And I think that that's a big part of recovery that's missing because they really need people like that to help them.
They're not alone.
They're not alone.
With their
Because it's
addiction.
scary. I mean, they get out of treatment and, it's not like they're okay because
They're not.
they're not. And all these feelings are going to come creeping back, and they have to learn how to cope with that, cope with life, deal with life
That's why it's so good.
every day.
Everybody needs to have those centers that they can go in and
Right.
fill out, have someone help them with job applications or.
Oh, I think recovery centers are like so important, and
Right.
we don't have enough of them.
So I just can't wait till Malden opens. I already told them that I
Yeah.
would give them 4 to 8 hours a week.
Yeah,
And
these people need that kind of support there
They do.
in order to get back on track with their life.
They were saying
know?
too that they, I know like online they have people that like doctors and things like that that explain like how the brain works.
Yes.
How if you're a man and a woman, it is different.
Mm-hmm.
Your age is completely different. How the drugs affect
Mm-hmm.
you and things like that. I think that maybe more information like that for parents,
Yes.
so that they can, so when the kids are the adolescents and they start to see this kind of behavior, they can kind of go
Yeah,
in
because
and-
the adolescent brain hasn't matured. So if you start using drugs at an early age, you have more of a chance of being an addict.
Yeah, every year that
Every
you
year.
postpone first use, you
Yeah.
have less of a chance of becoming addicted, which is, I mean, why they won't rent you a car
Right.
until
Until
you're
you're
25,
25.
right? That's the reason, is because your brain isn't fully formed yet, and
And it's
decision-making
Yeah.
ability isn't there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the brain is fully developed by the age of 25.
Right.
Right. But for a girl, it's different, correct?
I think it's about the same.
It's about the same,
I
Yeah.
think
okay.
it's the age more than this.
That's why I think it'd be more interesting to have Dr. Pate here. But she lives in Greenfield because she discussed the.
Oh,
She's
yes,
fabulous.
she's
the addiction.
fabulous. We've heard her.
Yeah.
I have you?
I mean,
Oh,
the thing
yeah.
you know what the wonderful thing about her is too is that everything she does is on YouTube, and when she speaks, she's more than happy to share her slides, her notes, anything, so that you can she wants people to replicate her talk, so that everybody is able to, that other people are able to say the same thing. So she doesn't copyright her slides or her presentation, so that people can use it. She's really a good
Is her
human
first
being.
name Pam?
Ruth.
Ruth. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's Dr. Ruth Pate.
It's-
P-O-T-T-E-E.
That's correct.
All right.
And
So
she's
if
on
any-
YouTube?
Yeah.
That's what you just
Yes,
said?
Yeah.
Ruth Pody on YouTube. Yeah.
So if anybody's really interested in finding out about, about her research
Yeah,
and
the physiology of the
she's-
brain and addiction, how addiction affects the
And,
brain.
and I'll tell you, it really helps to know the science
Yes.
of it, because you get them stubborn people that
That
say,
say it's
a
not
choice.
it's not a disease.
They
I know.
chose that, and
I
it's
think-
like no one
yeah.
chooses that.
I think if somebody listens to her presentation, whether even if it's online, you start to get, yeah, okay, now I understand,
Mm-hmm.
because it's very she's like just a real person, She's not like an academic that you can't, that goes on and on and on. She's just her presentation is very welcoming and warm.
Mm-hmm.
actually I do have a presentation at home. I met her a couple of years ago in Worcester. They had, it was for educators, and they had Dr. Pate there. They had Joanne Peterson from Learn to Cope.
Mm-hmm.
They had people in from Esprit. They had people in from recovery schools. And it was really a great seminar. I really enjoyed it very much. And I do have that in my computer, actually, her what she had written for that seminar.
Yeah.
Marion, you have an event coming up, don't you?
Oh, yeah, July
Yeah,
8th.
ooh,
Let's
see
talk
that?
about it.
Mhm.
Yes.
Well, after my son passed away, I wanted to do something to honor his memory. So I started a scholarship fund in his name and his good friend, and they were almost like brothers because he lived next door to us. His name is Nick Lanier. He runs this basketball tournament, and my son's nickname that I hated was Sweaty. So some people don't even know that his name's Brian. So the tournament's called Sweat for Sweat, and it's a basketball tournament, and this year he's also incorporated 2 people that he knows that own a gym. I can't think of the name of it. I can't think of the name of the
That's
gym right
okay.
now, but they're going to, they're going to be on the other side of the park doing like workouts and stuff. So, yeah, it's
So if you just don't want to go and participate in a basketball
a
game,
tournament. You
work
can
out.
go and
You
work
can
out.
work out. Or you could just
I
grab
mean,
a lounge chair and enjoy
Yeah,
yourself.
no, we're going to have speakers there too. We're going to have speakers,
Yeah.
we're going to have music, we're going to have
Bigger than that.
raffles.
Sounds
Sounds
great.
good. And
Yeah.
what's the date on that?
July 8th
July 8th. Where?
at Manziel Park in Salem.
In Salem.
Yep.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Yeah.
Great. When it
It'll
gets
be-
closer to
Yeah, it'll be on Facebook.
Yep.
It'll be on
we'll always-
Facebook.
We'll
We'll
give
share
you a
it.
shout out
'Cause
again.
Yeah, it's just the beginning. We're just starting to get everything together this year. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, Nick is the one that does most of the work.
Now, do you do a
So-
college scholarship, high school, or do you do
Oh
sober
no,
living?
it's sober living.
Sober
It's
living.
sober living
So it's
through
ma-
Magnolia.
It's a Magnolia
Okay.
scholarship.
Yeah.
So
Can you guys explain what that is when you do that?
Oh yeah.
Is for the scholarships?
So we give 4-week scholarships to people that are coming out of 30 days of treatment.
Mhm.
And so, for example, Marion's, Brian's fund raised, I can't call him that, I have to call him Brian.
I know. Me too. Me too.
Brian's fund
I'm
raised
glad.
$2,800 last year.
Nice.
So the average scholarship is between $500 and $600, and we work with treatment facilities that have, most of them are mass health facilities. Every once in a while, we'll get a private facility where somebody came in for free, and they don't, they don't have any insurance and they don't have any money. But we'll work with like a Spectrum or a High Point or another 30-day program, at least 30 days. We work with the Farris Center a lot, which is a 90-day program. And we give people this 30 days or 4 weeks in a sober living, a structured, really is supported sober environment that's MASH certified and that will work with us. And a lot of times they'll waive certain fees. Sometimes they'll even give us a free week. And we like to see somebody in there for at least 4 weeks. So we are referred by clinicians and case managers. So we don't pick people. I don't want, there's too many, I don't want to, discriminate against
Right, anybody.
yeah. So we don't
We try to
pick
do
anybody.
it to keep it fair.
So it's
Yeah.
all fair and it's, yeah. So, and the case managers and clinicians refer somebody who they find who's ready, willing, and able to get a job, who has made some kind of a change. So a lot of times these people have been in this facility more than once. And this time they've come back and they see something different. Or for whatever reason during the time that they were there, they see that this person, it's their time. And the only thing that's going to keep them from being successful is that they don't have a place to live. Because there are people that go through 30 days of treatment or longer and then go out and live in a shelter.
Right.
And it's, I mean, after all that work, they have no place to live afterwards. So,
You want to give them hope.
Yes.
that's why you have
exactly.
Now, is it
Exactly.
both for men and women?
yes, Brian's scholarship is for men, but we have a couple of men's scholarships because there's usually more men than women.
Yes.
And then we have the Mariah Lottie
okay,
scholarship
right.
as well.
Yeah.
in
Right.
Rhonda's daughter's name, who passed away 4 years ago. I think it's 4 years ago now. And that's our women's scholarship.
You guys just had a big event with that, didn't you, last
did.
year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we raised over $60,000 last year.
Holy goodness.
So we are
Ooh.
giving it away. And what happens is the case managers will refer somebody. They'll have an application. The case manager or clinician has to write a letter saying why they feel that this person is a good candidate for the scholarship. And then the client themselves, excuse me, writes a letter. And that letter goes to mom. So Marion or Rhonda or whoever else the scholarship is whoever else is reviewing it. So the mom gets this letter from somebody who's trying to start their life over, and $2,800 gave a lot of people an opportunity. to
That's
start their life
awesome.
over.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a win-win. It's a nice circle of hopefully it's without any kind of like bias. That's I don't want that.
Yeah.
But it's also seems like everybody gets something. out of it. The treatment facility gets to place somebody. The mom gets this beautiful letter and knowing that they will help somebody in their child's name, and the client gets a place to live. And I try to keep in touch with everybody that we refer out, and if they need anything, like there's one girl that we'll be putting into sober living at the end of the month, and I'm going to take her for clothes. She doesn't have anything. She was living under a bridge before she went to treatment, so she has nothing. There's a lot of that. I mean, we helped a boy a couple months ago, or a month or so ago, whose both parents had died of an overdose. So, I mean, there's so many needy people out there. We're trying to help the neediest of the needy.
Right.
That's wonderful.
It's really a blessing to be able to do this.
Yeah, it is.
And we'll be
that
there this year.
magnitude.
I didn't get a chance to go to your event last year. But I'll be there July 8th.
Yep, July 8th.
Right.
Saturday? Is that on a
It's
Saturday?
Saturday.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
And usually what time is it around?
Like 9 in the morning. Goes all day.
Because this girl does not work Saturdays no more.
So I should be able to participate.
I
That's
can go
really good.
anywhere.
Whereas some of Overcome an Addiction, we try to educate people, and we do have a scholarship in my son's name.
Oh, that's nice.
And we actually have the kids at the school send us a letter and their story about how they're affected by addiction. And then we just actually picked out a couple of candidates.
And one made every one of us cry because the story was just so real. Now, last year's recipient was a young girl that was raised by her grandmother. And when I read the story, all I kept thinking of was little Jimmy when he got older. That her Nana was like her savior. And here's this girl going into college, great. I mean, everything she's been through, her grandma kept her life stable. And she's going into, she either wants to be FBI or firearms, tobacco, FTA, but she wants to come back and be on the crime part of fighting
Good for her.
the addiction. And I'm just like, oh, it was like, her story was absolutely amazing. It was just, we went through how many, 20? And that one, it was just, I was like, that's her.
Last year we gave out 2 scholarships. This year I would like to. There's one young man that's actually struggling himself. So it's not about his family, about him and how, that he's homeless and going to school. And he's trying to make his life better. So.
Which I think is amazing. Could you imagine being that young, homeless, and still getting up every day and going to school? I mean, that's courage.
Yeah, it is.
That's
So
courage.
we are going to write him a letter saying that if he continues to do well,
that we're going to
that
try
we
to
will
help
give
him.
we will give him a scholarship
Yeah,
as
we'll
well.
help him some way.
That's great.
That's nice.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many heartfelt stories. I know that when we did our vigil, not this year, but last year, we had an amazing young lady on there, and both her parents were addicts, and she had younger siblings, and she put herself through college and every single one of them kids.
That's amazing.
And
there's a lot of amazing people out
Yeah,
there.
there really
and
are.
It was like
There
to
really are.
look at her, she looked like you would never ever know she came from such a broken place. And she was telling her story, and it's so, I don't know, it's so different to hear it from a child's point of view. Addiction from the child's eyes is,
And how they're functioning. And
and the
went to
yelling,
school
the
every day,
screaming,
and
the
their parents.
fighting at night, and the things that they heard, and no one thinks that they hear, and things like that. So I mean, it was quite touching.
Yes, it was. And it's amazing. It's amazing. I love the work that we do.
Yeah.
But the only thing that bothers me the most is, first of all, the best thing in the world is to save a person's life. And we have so many warrior moms out there, and a lot of them haven't even been able to help their own. They're not ready yet.
Well, yeah, that's,
it's so disheartening. Here you are going out there and you're finding all these resources. You're, starting your own organizations. You're helping a lot of people, and then you can't do it. I mean, how many have we seen even recently that they
Look at the guilt that I went through. That I'm like, I tried everything, and it was like seriously like being stuck in a room and just running and hitting the wall and going and running and hitting the wall, but yet I would get a phone call and I'd be up calling everybody, got them in bed like yes, and then I'd be like, please, we need to do something. And that was really hard because it was almost like I was mourning a child that was still alive.
And a lot of people do. But the hard thing, being a parent of somebody with a substance abuse problem, is because we are parents and we love our children and we've always been there for them, we want to be able to fix it because we fix everything in their lives.
and that's what's so hard when you can't
That's what's
fix
so hard. But it takes you a while to realize that you can't fix it, that it has to be up to them, and it's their journey. And they have to choose what they want for their own life. And as a parent, that's just so hard for us to accept sometimes.
That's
It
pretty
is.
funny on the page. Typing away one morning, one mother got on and said, "Go outside, open your arms, and give him to God." And I was like, can't be that easy.
No, but
I went out back, opened my arms, and I gave him to God. I've taken him back a few times. Because you always think, I can do it better than that. But I always end up giving it right back to God. And when I gave him back to God, the last time I gave him back to God, something happened. He had a very good childhood friend of his mom's mom that passed away. And Jimmy was the only friend that came. And he was like, "Do you know why I was the only one there, Mara?" And I said, "No, Jim." He was, "Because everyone else is dead."
yeah,
And I'm like, "Jim." And he helped carry his friend's mother's casket. And from that day on, things are very, very different.
Wow.
no, that's
With
good.
Jimmy, we were in church. I don't even know the last time it didn't rock, nothing. It stayed on its foundation. But it was so crazy that it was just like the whole entire time I was like almost sitting on top of him, like holding him. And he was like, what? I was like, I just, this is, everything happens for a reason.
That's right.
And we were placed in God's house together. I mean, when's the last time we went to church together, Jim? I think you made your first Holy Communion. It was the last time we were both in the same place at the same time. And it was just, it's hard because you grow up believing, religion plays a big role in all of it.
It does.
It does. And sometimes you're afraid to let the religion part come into it because then you don't want to offend anybody,
Right.
by it, but you need it because you need all the grace and all the light that you can, even if it's a crack, you need to follow it.
Yeah.
It brings to mind that the other night I decided to go out and be out with my friends and have a good time. And Wildfire, that played at my event for Frankie, I happened to go and see them because they're wonderful. They've always been so good to me. And I'm sitting there celebrating girlfriend's birthday, and they're singing a Queen song, and I Don't Want to Die, it said. 3 days before that, and it just struck me because that's what Frankie had said to me 3 days before he died, "Ma, I don't want to die." So that's when, there's always times when you're walking, or you might see a postal worker, where Frankie was a postal worker, that actually walked like him.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's been 9 years, you still love your child. But there
That's
are some
right.
times when the tears will start to flow
Yeah,
because certain things will be triggered.
that's
Here
right.
I am I'm at a nightclub, and I'm ready to just open up. It's like, oh my God, that's what he said to me 3 days before he died. He said he didn't want to die, and he was on the phone trying to get into treatment. He was so optimistic, and then 3 days later, I find him. And we never know.
No, you never know.
We just try so hard. And like I was telling Judy when we were doing recovery coaching, I said, Judy, recovery coach is like being a mom, but you can't tell your child what to do. What you're going to do is be there and meet them where they're at,
Right.
and try to help them
Navigate their life.
have a plan,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And like our dear
But
friend Mike said,
Mm-hmm.
they asked me what my plan was. He said, my plan got me here. So some of
That
us
was so
do need a
funny
little
when
bit more
he
help.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
funny, wasn't it?
It really was, because it was his plan that got him there.
It was too much. But I like what we do. You know, unfortunately, it's sometimes we have a big, huge network. A lot of people don't know about. It's on Facebook, and we all work with each other. We all talk to each other. We always go to a lot of the different events. We post them everywhere so we can find out where everybody's going. You know, if they're walking to the State House. You know, I'd like to see more of. I would like to see us all get together and have one big, huge event.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a
You
good
know,
idea.
and-
Strength in numbers.
That's
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people still don't get it.
Right.
There's 155 people dying a day
Yep.
in our state.
And just a year ago, when Brian passed away,
Yeah.
it was 129
Yeah.
Right.
in one
So it's
year.
already increased.
Right, because they had the 129
129.
campaign.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and a lot of people are like, well, what's 129? I'm like, the amount that, the death.
That dies every day
What
in
did
this
they say?
country.
5.5 people in
Massachusetts.
in Massachusetts. 5.5 people a day. In
A day.
Massachusetts. I mean, that's
That's staggering.
and then don't forget that it's not just. No, you guys won't forget, but it's not just the person; it's the whole family.
It's a whole family.
And the ripple effect of their friends and all the people that love them. So this is
And the
just-
children.
huge.
The children.
John, I told Jimmy's counsel the other day, I said, everybody's missing one little small piece, and it's called generations. I said, do you realize that when Jimmy grows up and gets married and has children, there's not going to be any grandparents. They're all dead. The amount of moms and dads
Yeah.
that have passed, that now the grandparents
That's
are
are
taking
taking
care
care
of
of 'em.
these children.
There's so many of
when
them,
these
too.
kids get older and have families, there'll be grandfathers missing, grandmothers missing,
Mm-hmm.
there'll be aunts, uncles. There's going to be a huge gap
Right.
into that generation.
I met a woman who worked in a nursing home in Boston, and she told me that that it's not older people like you think of when you think of a nursing home. In the nursing home she works in, it was all people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s that had overdoses and had infections and lost a limb and all these other effects of or had the effects of doing drugs for all those years. And you don't think about that.
You don't think
No.
about
She said
that.
probably like 90% of the people in that particular nursing home were under 40.
Wow.
And so we're not thinking about all that either.
Right.
No.
It's just, and then you have to think about all the children that are being born to women that are afraid to tell anybody that they're using drugs, because of the stigma and the shame, and go for help. It's just,
Right.
there's so many
There's
things
so
that we
many.
have to, so many reasons why we have to get ahead of this and help people.
Yeah, the special education department's being flooded because now all these children are school aged. And
Even
and
if you
it's
just
hard.
talk-
I mean,
Yeah.
I did it with 2 feet, 2 hands on top of my baby's head, and the village raised Jimmy. Everyone helped because it was hard.
Mhm.
There was a lot of doctor's appointments, lot of being
Yeah.
sick. There's a lot of loving, a lot of caring, and it's still not over. You know, the older they get now, the why. Well, why? Well, why would someone? I don't know. I'm kind of stuck now into you don't want to say bad things because it's a disease. So I just try to tell Jimmy to hate the disease, not the person.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
if it wasn't for that disease, that person would not have acted like that.
I think it's really important to explain to children who have this disease in their family that the physiology of it, the reason why it's hereditary, that what happens to a person's brain, how if they don't have that first time, or if they can just prolong the first time, they have a less of a chance of becoming addicted. It's the same way you would explain it to somebody if there was diabetes in the family, or there was any other disease in the family.
Right.
That you have to, instead of just saying, giving them the don't do that, which
Yes.
doesn't, we all know that doesn't
That
work.
doesn't work.
You have to explain to them why they have to prolong first use. And I mean, of course, we don't want them to use it all, but I think if you try to explain to a young person, just push it out as far as possible. Don't take that first drink until you're 21, or and it seems it doesn't seem realistic because we grew up in a time when it wasn't that big of a deal.
Right.
But it's different now.
It's
It's
different now.
And and they can see that there are people dying around them left and right. So maybe it's not so unrealistic. Maybe if we say these things and we say, and this is the reason why we're saying this, that young people will start to listen.
Like you mentioned earlier, Marion, about when we were younger and there was pot.
Yeah.
And you said it is different.
It is different.
Because
The
right now
THC
the
level.
THC
level
level.
is 24% higher than
And
it
that's
was.
not even you're not even talking about like the pot that we're going to be able to buy in the stores, because we've legalized recreational marijuana. Who knows what the THC level is going to be in those, and the gummy bears, which are, don't tell me that's not for children, because I'm sorry, there's no 40-year-old person that's going to go buy gummy bears. They're just,
Well, it's not even that. Even the 40-year-old that does have the gummy bears, and if he has it in the house and there's children
Right.
there, and they see it and they say, oh, wow, look, there's gummy bears, and they start taking it.
Yeah.
You don't know what, the effects will be on the child.
And you're not going to just eat one gummy bear.
Well, this
True.
is-
Well,
Right.
Yeah, you got
That's why they're
kids.
seeing
Yeah.
people. That's why they're seeing people having psychotic
Psychotic
breaks
breaks, yeah.
from eating like entire candy
Oh,
bars.
right.
Mhm.
Right. Because it'd be like, oh, we'll eat a little bit more and then a little bit more.
Right.
That's.
It's scary. It's scary.
Yeah.
Are they now delivering it?
Not
As
here.
of
No.
yesterday, they were talking about delivery of medical marijuana.
There
Medical
was
marijuana,
a
I think,
thing.
yeah.
There was a thing on 2020 about a month or two ago about a gentleman that does deliver it, but he was like incognito. Everything was dark. No one knew who he was. And he was, yeah. I'm like, so why
Why,
come
if
on
you
TV?
ever see me like that, you'll know I know I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, well, these people can't get out of the house, and some of them are wheelchair bound and things like that. And but he
There's a
didn't.
reason for medical marijuana. I get
Yes,
that.
there is.
But there's a whole different set of rules on how somebody can prescribe. The trials were not done in the same way that any other drug is tested for these specific things. But I mean, I know that there are medical reasons for marijuana, but we already had that. We didn't need recreational marijuana.
Right.
I mean, there's no good can come of that. If
Right.
You can ask me. If you ask me. But,
It'll be
Right.
just another
We're outnumbered.
store.
I mean, I know that I voted against it.
yep.
And it is a lot of people that are in recovery use that as their recovery. Not all people go cold turkey. We have Suboxones. We have methadone. We have, what's the shot? I can't even think
Vivitrol.
of it.
Vivitrol.
Vivitrol.
But those are prescribed, and that would be medical marijuana.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they're supposed to be given in conjunction with therapy and counseling and all those other things.
Right.
So,
And,
And
you know,
that's the important piece.
right.
yeah,
Right,
and that's the
absolutely.
piece that's lacking. I think of is this with the medical marijuana, because I know a few people that actually have it, and I can't remember them going to the doctors except that once with that money, and all of a sudden they have it and they're off and running.
No.
There's big money behind
Yeah.
the
Right.
pharmaceutical companies that are producing this.
Right.
So, and they're doing the same thing that they did with tobacco. So, and with painkillers that were supposed to be prescribed for end of life, and then they started glutting the market with everybody that had a toothache and a sore finger got oxycodone, and then they take it away. So this is this is where our heroin problem came from. So this is something bigger out there.
Why do you
Then-
think that nobody's gone after the pharmaceutical companies to at least sponsor these houses, these rehabs and
I
things
think
like
a lot of times people don't want to take their money,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're
Because I
offering
almost
it.
think that they should be held responsible.
Well, if I made $14 billion
For
a year
that.
on a
They've admitted to falsely telling, the doctors that, I mean, I know it's so crazy because it's just so much bigger than all of us.
Yes.
It really is.
It
When
is.
you really think about it, it's just like we're these little teeny,
That's how change happens.
That's
yes,
right.
because a whole bunch of teeny little things start
Yeah,
yelling, and
that's right.
Right. And we're pretty relentless, as
Yeah.
so you say, like, we don't go away.
No.
So
gonna
when are
give
we
us
going to form an
like
addiction
strict-
walk?
Strength in numbers.
Yes.
Because we look at, you had the women's walk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were huge, and they had all these people coming out for, I mean, I'm a woman, but I wasn't there. But I'm actually wanting to see more people come out and talk about addiction, and let's go to the State House.
Well, I
We've
think
done that many times, but it's small in numbers,
But
and
you
it's not
do it on a
huge.
Monday, and Tuesday or Wednesday, people work.
Yeah. People work.
They have a women's march. They have it on a Sunday.
yeah.
Thousands of people come.
Yeah.
How about when we went to Washington?
But nobody's in
Nobody
the
knew.
State House on Sunday.
Right.
So even if we did it, would just fall on deaf ears anyways, because no one's there.
Well, I think you hit it on the head, though. We will have to join together to do these things because
Right.
there's 45 different little bits of this and that.
Grassroots organizations.
Yeah, and I think that, we all have to come together. And even if we're doing different things and we have different philosophies, we all need to be working together because we all have one common
And
purpose.
go. Mhm.
Oh, that's amazing, because I look at it and I say to myself, you could go, your child could go out and get a drug, and the next minute they're gone.
Mhm.
There's we're still alive, even though we're fighting for abortions or, but no one ever talks about you could die. All you have to do is take one more. The next time that you take that drug, or any drug,
Yeah.
that you're not going to be alive.
Right. And now I just shared somebody's post today about how in the local area they're mixing rat poisoning in it.
Oh, my
That's in
goodness.
Lynn. That's in Lynn, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's Lynn and a couple of other
Yeah.
places. They're mixing rat poison.
And you don't know what you're getting.
No.
I said, I've always I've remained very calm with my daughter. I am kind of like a very even person most of the time. And I've never really gotten mad at her or yelled at her because I do believe that, if she could stop this, she would. And she's tried, and she's trying now. But I said to her once, I said, don't you understand? You're going to kill yourself. You're going to die. And she looked me right in the eye and she goes, you don't understand. I would rather be dead than be like this. So I think we think that, don't they understand they should just stop, but they could die. But the fact of the matter is they're so consumed by this that actually sometimes seems like an okay alternative to going through with this constant in treatment and trying and being unsuccessful and then having to do it all over again and feeling so badly about yourself. I mean, I don't think we truly understand unless you've gone through it how awful this is.
Yeah.
And it's hard for us to deal with it and to watch this, but they're in
So
much
much
pain.
pain.
It's just
They are.
unbelievable. They're in such a dark place.
And I always think that everything should be dual diagnosed. Everything. When you go in there, I totally believe that there is a maker in the equation of
Yeah.
why, this has happened to you, and half the time it's the mental illness.
Well,
Or
even if it
if
wasn't to start
people-
out
Right.
with the trauma that
The
they
trauma,
go through,
right.
At the
creates it,
very
yeah.
end.
It creates it, yeah.
At the very end,
Yeah.
because they live lives that they would never.
And that's what
Yeah.
people don't understand.
Right.
Nobody's having any fun.
No.
Nobody's having
Nobody.
any fun. By the time it gets to this point, the people that are suffering like this are just trying not to be sick. They're just trying to try to find some sense of normal or relief from the pain that they're in. So nobody's having a good time. And there's that attitude where they're having so much fun and they don't want to stop. It does not exist.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
it doesn't.
And going out into Boston and paying forward and giving warm things and stuff, I have never met more appreciated people.
They are.
They were like
They're so
a pair of
appreciative.
socks, and it's just like, oh,
You thought
my
you'd give them
God.
gold.
It'd be like, can I hug you? And it's like, yeah, you can.
Well,
People
any
are
other
like, oh, you
disease-
shouldn't let them. I'm like, why? They're human.
Any other
And they're
disease,
so-
we wouldn't let people live in the street. If
Right.
somebody
No.
had cancer, we would never let
No.
them live in the street. We would treat them for the rest of their life.
Right.
But this is different.
And you wonder why. Why is it different? What can we do to...
So guess what I just did?
What?
I looked at the clock,
Oh,
and we have 2 more minutes. Can you believe it? You wondered what we would be talking about.
Yeah.
And wanted to know if we would have breaks. We didn't need it.
No.
What we do is we sit around, we talk about, things that we're going through, and everybody's story,
Yeah.
Well,
and it's amazing.
I'm really glad you had us on tonight. Thank you very much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
thank you.
it.
They were on our first show.
That's right.
That's
Yeah.
right. You
Yeah.
guys
Yeah,
went
we
to that
were.
first
Everybody
show with
looks-
us. That's right.
Looks on
Yeah.
Facebook, Magnolia Addiction Support. And,
Yes.
you can find any of the groups that way.
Yes.
So tell them again who you are.
Maureen Cavanagh from Magnolia New Beginnings and Magnolia Addiction Support Facebook groups.
Well, I want to thank you both for coming.
Yes.
Thank you.
And
Thank
it was
you.
a good meeting.
That was great.
Thank you.
And don't forget about Brian's basketball tournament.
That's right.
Yeah.
In
Sweat for
July
Sweat,
8th.
July 8th.
Sweaty Sweat, and we'll make sure that it's on Facebook. We'll post it on some of Overcoming Addiction many times before that.
And we'll
So-
mention it every.
Yes, and we so
Every
appreciate.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
we
you.
Don't
appreciate
forget about it.
Thank
so
you.
much you girls do for everybody and everything. It's very.
I'm always saying,
nice.
Marion's there. My God, that woman's everywhere. Thanks, everybody,
Yeah.
for watching.
Thank you.
This is good. We are about to wrap it up.
All the time.
I want to thank Yvette,
Thank you,
Genevieve.
Yvette. Thank you, Genevieve.
for starting the show over a year ago.
Oh, it's been a year.
Yeah, it was a year in April.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was right after